Hi everyone, notes 5.5 are on factoring trinomials part 1, so we'll have 2 days of this stuff right here. And if you notice, we need to define what a trinomial is. So the word tri, the prefix tri means 3, so a trinomial is an expression with 3 terms in it. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at questions 1, 2, and 3. So for 1, 2, and 3, it asks us to multiply x plus 3 by x plus 5. You can FOIL it or you can use the box. It's up to you. I'm going to use the box because it looks like the majority of you guys are using the box. So if I put x here, I'm going to put 3 here. If I put x here, I'm going to put 5 here. So when I do this right here, in this box, it's x times x. Remember, it's x to the power of 1, x to the power of 1. So I get x to the power of 2. Here I get 3x. Here I get 5 times x, which is 5x. And here I get 5 times 3, which is 15. So I end up getting x squared plus the 3x and the 5x go together. So I get 8x and then plus 15. And that's my answer for question number 1 here. Okay, so now let's take a look at number 2. And in number 2, we've got x, we've got -4, we've got x, and we've got -8. So here I'm going to have x to the power of 1, x to the power of 1, which gives me x to the power of 2. This gives me -4x. This gives me -8x. And then here, -4 times -8 will end up giving me -30 or positive 32. So this right here will be 32. Now I have x squared, and -4x and -8x are like each other. So that gives me -12x, and then here I get positive 32, so this is what I end up getting right here. Okay, all right, for our last one that we have here, I'm still going to do a 2 by 2, but I'm going to put x minus 2 and x plus 12. So here I'm going to say x minus 2, here I'm going to say x and 12, and then when I do this work right here, x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 1 is x to the power of 2. X times -2 is -2x. 12 times x is 12x, and then 12 times -2 is -24. So what we're going to do is we're going to write x squared, and -2x and positive 12x put together gives me 10x, and then I'm just going to copy down the -24. Okay? So I want you guys to notice some values that we have here. So if you notice here, we have an 8 in this number right here, in this part of our answer, and we have a 15 here. And the numbers that we have here are 3 and 5. And if you notice, if I add 3 plus 5 together, I get 8. And if I multiply 3 times 5, I get 15. Okay? Over here, the values that we have were -12 and 32, and we had -4 and -8. And if I add -4 and -8 together, I get -12. And if I multiply -4 and -8 together, I get positive 32. Okay, and then in the last one that we have here, we had positive 10 and -24, but the numbers we had here were 2 and 12, and if you notice, -2 plus 12 is 10, and -2 times 12 is -24. And if you remember, it's always going to be ax squared plus bx plus c. So what do we notice? We notice that in our binomials, the two numbers multiply together to get this value right here. See, 3 times 5 gave me 15, -4 times -8 gave me 32, -2 times 12 gave me -24, which is the c value. So they multiply together to get c, okay? And then we can also say that the two numbers added together So if I add 3 and 5 together, I got this 8. If I add -4 and -8, I got the -12. If I add the -2 and the 12, I get the +10. The two numbers added together they will add together. We'll say add together to get the b. Okay? All right. So we're going to skip this whole chart up here. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. And we're going to just go straight to this part right here. So it says factor the following trinomials. So essentially, it's just going to be a puzzle. Do you guys see how here we got our answer by creating our box? Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to work backwards, and we're going to fill in the box, and then we're going to see what we're going to put on the outside right here. Okay, so one thing I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of is, if you guys notice, when we did our box right here, we had x here, 3 here, x here, 5 here. I'm just recreating the same box right here. So this was x squared, this was 3x, this was 5x, this was 15, and the 3x and the 5x put together make this 8x right here. Okay, now in order for you to be able to do these questions, you will need a pencil, because we are going to be doing a lot of guess and check. So since we're doing guess and check, you're going to have to be doing a bunch of erasing. So let's go ahead and fill in our final answer right here into the box, and we're going to actually work backwards. So we know that what's going to be filled in right here is going to be a squared. And we know that what's going to get filled in right here is going to be 8. Just like over here, when we did this problem right here, the x squared was here and the 15 was here. Okay? Now, we also know that this term plus this term will give me this middle term, this 6a in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I need to figure out what goes here and what goes here, and then that's going to be my answer. So essentially we are just like factoring by GCF was undistributing, we are going to unfoil. And in the next couple of videos, you're going to see why it's useful to be able to do something like this. Okay, so right here, in order for me to get this times this to give me a squared, it has to be a times a, because a to the power of 1 times a to the power of 1 is going to give me a squared. Okay, now I'm going to do some guessing and checking, so I'm going to use a pencil because we could need to do some erasing. Here I know that this times this is going to give me 8. So let's make a list of factors of 8. We know 1 and 8 work, and we know 4 and 2 work. Okay, so let's try 1 and 8. So I'm going to put a 1 here, and I'm going to put an 8 here. Well, a times 1 is a. 8 times a is 8a. And 8a and a together do not give me 6a. So this won't work. Okay, so 1 and 8 will not work. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase those, and I'm going to try 4 and 2. So I'm going to erase this 8, I'm going to erase this 1, I'm going to try a 4 here and a 2 here. So this right here, a times 4 will give me 4a, and then 2 times a will give me 2a, and 2a plus 4a is 6a. And in order for this to work out for me, all of these values have to be positive. So that means when I unfoil this, my answer is going to be a plus 4 times a plus 2. And that will be my final answer. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and try the next one. So for the next one right here, I'm going to fill in my box because I actually know the information I can fill into my box right here. And I know that inside of here, this b squared has to go here, and this 21 has to go here. So I'm going to make a chart for 21. I'm going to look for all numbers I can multiply together to give me 21. So I could do 1 times 21. 21 is not divisible by 2. I get a decimal. 21 is divisible by 3, so I get 3 and 7. It's not divisible by 4. It's not divisible by 5. It's not divisible by 6. It is divisible by 7, but it's already in our chart here. Okay, so now let's fill in all the things that we need. So here we know that b times b will give me b squared. So that in and of itself is good to go. Those are perfect. Okay, now I just have to do my guessing and checking. So I'm going to try, first of all, I apologize. This 10b has to go in the middle. That's really important. Okay, so that's what we get when we add these two together. So right here, if I try 1 here and I try 21 here, I get 1b here and I get 21b here. And 1b plus 21b does not give me the 10b I want. So this does not work. So I'm going to get rid of all of these values here. And I'm going to cross off 1 and 21. So now I'll try 3 and I'll try 7. So 3 times b is 3b. 7 times b is 7b, and 3b plus 7b, if they're both positive, will give me positive 10b. So this is a plus, this is a plus, making my final answer b plus 3 right here times b plus 7. And it doesn't matter what order you do it in, you'll get the right answer either way. Okay, so let's take a look at number 3. So in number 3, same thing, it's a puzzle. I'm trying to figure out what the values are that are going to fit into here. Okay, so here I know that x squared will go here, and I also know that negative 45 will go here, and it's really important that you put that negative inside of there. And then lastly, I know that these two together will give me that 4x. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure out what are some factors of 45 that will work. Will 1 and 45 work? 45 is divisible by 2? Nope, I get a decimal. 45 divided by 3, I get 15, so I can put 3 and 15 on my list. 45 is divisible by 4? Nope, I get a decimal. 45 divided by 5, I get 9, so I'll put 5 and 9 down. 45 divided by 6, decimal. 45 divided by 7 doesn't work. 45 divided by 8 does not work, and then 45 divided by 9 works, but it's already in our list. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bunch of my guessing and checking. So here, I'm going to try 1 and 45, so I'll put 1 here, I'll put 45 here. By the way, we know that this is going to be x and this is going to be x because x times x is x squared. Here, x times 1 is x. Here, 45 times x is 45x. And there's no way that these things here are going to give us 45x. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 1 and 45, and I'm going to realize, nope, those answers don't work. Okay, so now let's try 3 and 15. So here I'll get 3x, here I'll get 15x, and there's no way that I can get a 4x from a 3x and a 15x. So that doesn't work either. Okay, now I'm going to try 9 and 5, okay, and this right here gives me 9x, this here gives me 5x, and I can get a positive 4x if the 9x is positive and the 5x is negative, because 9 minus 5 is 4. Okay, so this here, this 4x works here for us. So that means that this is the answer that works for us. But because the 9 is positive here, we write plus here, and since this 5 is negative here, we put a minus here. So that means my answer is going to be x plus 9 times x minus 5. Now the goal is for you to get away from the box eventually. So eventually you're going to get to a point where you're going to recognize, oh, 5 and 9 work because it gives me a 4, and you should be able to fill in those numbers without the box. Use the box until you feel comfortable enough to get it right without the box. All right, so we're going to try this one without the box this time. So I know that it's going to be something times something is going to give me x squared. And the only way that something times something gives me x squared is if they are both x's. Okay, then I'm going to look for some factors of 12. So for factors of 12, I could do 1 and 12. 12 is divisible by 2 and I get 6. 12 is divisible by 3 and I get 4. And then 12 is divisible by 4 and I get 3. I've already repeated, so that's all that works. And I want to get 1x right here. Okay, so I'm going to put a 1 here and I'm going to put a 12 here. And 1 plus 12, no way will give me 1, so that won't work. Okay, 2 and 6 can't give me 1 either. They'll either give me an 8 if I add them, or they'll give me a 4 if I subtract them, so that won't work either. 3 and 4 will work because 3 and 4, if I subtract them, will give me the one that I'm looking for. So I'm going to try a 4 here, and I'm going to try a 3 here. And if you guys notice right here, if I write plus 4 and minus 3, 4 plus negative 3 is positive 1, which is exactly what I'm looking for. So this will be my answer right here. Okay, I just want to talk about how to do it without the box. I'm going to do the rest of these with the box, but you can do it without the box if you don't want to stray away from that quite yet. All right, next one, x squared minus x minus 90. So right here, I'm going to fill in my information. And I know that this right here will be x squared, this will be negative 90, and this right here is negative 1x. Okay, so right here, what I'm going to do is I know that x times x is x squared, and I'm going to look for factors of 90. And I know that 10 times 9 is 90. So I'm going to try 10 here, and I'm going to try 9 here. Okay, and this right here will give me 10x. This right here will give me 9x. And if I have negative 10 and positive 9, I end up getting negative 1. So this is what I want. I want that negative 1 right there. So this is going to work out for me. This is exactly what I want. This only works, though, if the 10 is negative and the 9 is positive. So that means that my answer is going to be x minus 10 times x plus 9. And then I'm good to go for that question. Okay? The remaining questions are challenge questions, 6, 7, and 8. If this stuff is easy for you, please try 6, 7, and 8, and that's it. All right, have a great day.